Welcome everyone to the Stanley Town Council meeting this evening. We'll move straight into the agenda. Apologies for absence.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have apologies from Councillor Helen Clark, Councillor George Wilkinson, Councillor Joyce Clark, Councillor James Kane, Councillor Carl Marshall and Councillor Clegg. Obviously, Councillor McMahon and Councillor Christie are not present. Councillor Pallet, sorry.
Item.
2 seconds, Carol.
Sorry.
Did we say you had apologies from Jack Allen?
I haven't had apologies from Jack.
Oh, like Gordon's got the business on holiday, apparently.
Oh, okay. Well,
He did actually say to me within the second apology.
apologies from Jack.
Oh, his apologies, but from the 27th. Are we sorted? Move on to item 2, declarations of interest. Do we have anybody with any declarations of interest? Sure.
Technically not really, because although I'm in the food bank, Sam has nothing to do with the food bank, if you know what I mean, but the figures are in there from Anfield Clean.
Yeah. Anybody else?
And it's the same.
Christine. Thank you. We'll move on to item 3, Mayor's announcements. First of all, I would like to let everyone know Alex is home, but he is resting and recuperating, and I think it would be nice if could we get a card to send him from all of us? Wishing him all the best, and I hope he probably wanted to come tonight, but I tried to make him rest, which you all know will be hard for him to do, but we wish him well anyway. We can't wait to have him back, but we don't want him to make it like too soon, if you know what I mean. Right, since the 28th of May, I've done a few things. On the 29th, I was at Packed House, launching the new DH9 radio station, which is now up and running from Packed House. On the 17th of June, I attended the Load Beamish in Stanley at the Black Horse. That was like a networking event. Good evening. We had quite a good evening listening to what everybody had to say, mixing and having words with each other. On the 21st of June, I was at the launch of the short videos that they were doing in Packed House about antisocial behaviour. The main star in the video was a guy called Vin, who is Denise Welsh's father, and they're going out and they're going to be called Don't Be a Dick, and he obviously was called Dick in the videos. On the 22nd of June, I was at St Teresa's Church at Anfield Plain, opening the summer fair there. On the 23rd of June, I was at the raising of the flag in Anfield Plain Park. I think everybody had a lovely afternoon. Then there was a game of bowls, and I presented the trophy to the winning team. And on the 24th of June, I was at the unveiling of the Morrison Busty banner up at the library in Anfield Plain. And that was a lovely afternoon as well, and we had Crackhead Brass Band playing. So thoroughly enjoyed it. Doing what I love doing. So thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've just heard the usuals, that obviously we are recording the meeting this evening. There's a member of the public also recording. Are any members of council recording the meeting? No? And just a reminder to please, if you haven't already, set your phones to silent whilst listening. Thank you.
We will move on to item 4, the leader's statement.
Firstly, I'd like to thank all the members for being elected as leader of Stanley Town Council. It's a privilege. Thanks very much. I'd also like to thank Councillor David Marshall for his leadership over the past 2 years. He has led this council on the pledges that the Labour members were elected upon. I personally thank him as he has mentored me over the last 2 years so that I can now take the position of leader. The council is now on a firm footing, but under my leadership I will continue the plans and implement new plans for the medium and long term for Stanley Town Council, which will benefit the people of Stanley area. These decisions will be made for the many residents, not just a few. As a Labour-run council, we have a vision of the area that will benefit the people of Stanley and the surrounding areas. And as leader of Stanley Town Council, I want to make Stanley a better place for people to live and to enjoy life. I want to make the area of Stanley for the many, promote community involvement, and I personally will promote fairness and equality to all residents. We often remember in the days of Downside Council that people of Stanley rightly said that all the investments and benefits went to concert, and I'm sure everybody here will agree with that statement. As leader, I will make sure all events and monies are distributed throughout the village of Stanley Town Council wherever possible evenly. Going forward, we as a council, we have to make difficult decisions at certain times, but rest assured, these will not be at the detriment of the area in the long term. Our decisions will be based on the findings and the best value option for the benefit of the area of Stanley Town Council. DH9 radio has just been launched, as the Mayor has just stated, and it gives Stanley its own radio station, which was achieved with funding and working with Haft House. And it's available through online, and I would hope Stanley Town Council will promote this for all the residents through the various Facebook pages and their own website. The first community grant funding applications have gone through the process, and all applications have had a notification if their bids were successful or not. The council has also given feedback to the unsuccessful applicants, as there were some very good applications, but they did not quite meet the criteria this time. Finally, I would like to announce that I will be hosting an event for the councillors to meet the staff. It will be held on Saturday the 27th of July from 10 o'clock till midday. It's for the staff to meet the councillors and listen to their ideas about the running of the Civic Hall and how we could improve our services. I hope all councillors can attend this session, as I firmly believe staff consultation can only benefit the relationships between staff and councillors. All staff and councillors will be receiving a letter in the next few days, and I hope everyone can attend this event.
Thank you. Moving on, item 5, public participation. Do you have any questions or anything? Nothing? No? Well, we'll move on to item 6 then. Confirmation of the minutes. Attachment A, the annual accounts. Has anybody got anything you want to bring up, Mark?
Yeah, just like the agree the minutes, please, Chair, and move them as a true regular.
Both agreed? Yep.
Yeah. Move on to item 7, committee minutes. Council to receive and approve the minutes of the planning committees.
Can I suggest that we receive the minutes of both of them together, please?
It's slightly different to normal. We actually do need to approve the planning meeting minutes, because we don't know whether there'll be another one. So we need to approve the planning meeting minutes, and we need to receive the other one.
So we'll take the planning.
Yeah.
meeting.
Any suggestion, William? Fellas, move that we receive them. I also want to approve them as well.
Approve them as well, please, yes.
That would be sensible. And if nobody else wants to do it, I'll second that, please, Chair. Chair, Mayor Allen.
and then Mark seconded.
Those are agreed?
Everybody agree? Yeah. Sign. Can you see your And then the second one is the Finance and General Purpose Committee. Councillor Nairn moved that we received them.
Yeah.
Mark seconded.
Great.
That one as well. Right. We've been asked if we'll move item 11 on the agenda forward to be the next item on the agenda. So we take the Stanley Advice Service update from Stan.
Yes, thank you for inviting me along today. What I want to do is just give you a bit of an overview of where we are with the Stanley Advice Hub. So, just to kind of reiterate what service we've got. So we've got, and this relates to the Stanley Advice Hub, but I'm going to talk about Anfield Claim within that as well. So in terms of the Stanley Advice Hub, we've got the food bank, which is operating 3 days a week on Stanley and venue. We've got Camp Germany Advice Centre, which is operating 2 days drop-in, and it's got 1 day where they do appointments only. We've got Citizens Advice that offer a 3-day drop-in service, which is operating now from 10 till 4. We've also got, I don't know if you're aware, but National Citizens Advice have actually been awarded the new Help to Claim service for Universal Credit. So what they've done is they've hired another room within the venue, so that service is operating alongside that. The Help to Claim service is very much a service to get people to make a universal credit claim, nothing beyond that. So, but what they will do is they'll do a full assessment to ensure that the person should actually be claiming universal credit, because unfortunately a lot of people are being advised to claim universal credit and actually they should be making a current benefit because it's making them financially a lot worse off. So they will do a full assessment, but then they will actually set up an email address, do the full claim. So that's working alongside the 3 days. It's very quiet at this moment in time. I'm surprised with the numbers, because when it was under Durham County Council it was a very busy service, so I think there's possibly a lot more promotion of the service needed, possibly. We also, we've got funding from Empower to have an advice and Durham energy specialist. Sophia was actually based over in Durham, taking referrals to the referral portal system. She's actually now based 2 days a week in Stanley, and she's there the days that the food bank's open. This is to hopefully generate some more referrals, because obviously there's a lot of fuel vouchers issued on the food bank, so trying to get people who's got those fuel issues to pick up on that. And also we've got Durham Welfare Rights, who are operating there 1 day a week. That's appointment based, and it's primarily kind of referrals for the work more complex issues. Looking as the objectives of the partnership, but kind of moving forward, I just wanted to kind of give an overview of where we are from July last year to the end of April. I've actually got another report that I'll send you electronically. I have not, but I don't want to give it overload today. But just since July last year, in the two in the services, so Citizens Advice and Durham Money Advice Centre and Welfare Rights, have been 2,348 clients supported. Of those clients, we've got 874 additional clients who've been supported with debt advice. We've got, between all the services, we've managed to meet and living off between up to nearly £2 million worth of debt, which is a phenomenal amount of debt in the Stanley area, and that's just for Stanley residents, so that's quite a large amount. In terms of financial gains, it's £621,327.38 that's been gained for residents from July last year to April. Obviously, there's got many more for the next kind of tranche. But in terms of the food bank vouchers, the 947 vouchers is between the Stanley and the Anfield Plain, but I've actually got a breakdown in the report so you can see actually which food banks are given out, and within that there's 1,920 beneficiaries, so you've got adults and children, and actually 465 fuel vouchers. that I believe the fuel vouchers are committed up to 2020, I think, is that right? I'm not too sure what's going to happen moving forward from there, because I don't know at the moment whether Young's actually taken over any power, so I'm not too sure what's going to happen moving forward from that. What I would say, there's been some challenges moving in terms of partnership working. I think bringing all services together has been quite a challenging experience, but I think it's getting a lot better. I think everybody works very differently, but I think that services are definitely working better. I wanted to give an example of a case study which I have put together to demonstrate one of the clients that actually came into the service. What I'm definitely having is, I think after speaking to particularly food bank volunteers, there's definitely more people, so you'll have like the person in the food bank who's coming along to citizens' advice, and they're talking about clients and what they're doing, is being very proactive. And there was a recent case where I got a call from a lady in the food bank who had provided dealt with citizens' advice, and the MP's actually involved, so there's a lot of definitely collaborative work, and which is definitely achieving a lot of clients. I wanted to talk about the opportunities as well, so we've got quite a few volunteers, and I know that we've had four volunteers who've actually, because there's a lot of volunteers within food bank and citizens advice, who have actually gained employment, and I think part of that is due to the work that's being done and the skills that have been given through their volunteering opportunities. I've also got one volunteer who she's been very poorly, so she was actually going to give me a bit of a mission statement, but she was, so I just wanted to give her an overview of what volunteering means to her. So she retired through ill health, so she's got very little family, and she was very socially isolated after finishing work. She's actually now volunteering within the venue, and it's given her new skills, and she feels like she's got a real purpose. And I think for her, it's made a huge difference to her life, and she's looking to return to work with the skills that she's gained. So I think it's not just about the people that walk through the door, but actually the people that provide the service that we're actually opening a lot of opportunities to. If you look at the case study that I've put down there, what I wanted to kind of demonstrate is this client actually presented in citizens' advice, but they actually had help from citizens' advice. They were referred to her because there was a domestic violence issue. They were referred to Housing Solutions to get rehoused. They got support from the food bank, but also they got money advice from the debt advice service as well, from the County Money Advice Centre, support with the council tax and secondary payment plan. So it's a total kind of circle of plans working together. And I just wanted to say, the number of volunteer hours for the food bank and citizens advice between the volunteers between the two services over the year actually equates to 7,370 hours worth. And I don't know the actual national number, but I put it as £10 an hour, but actually in terms of, if you looked at that, it would be worth over £73,000. I think that's a substantial amount of time that volunteers give to the service. So I think it's a very valuable contribution. So I just wanted to say as well that I think because of the success of the Stanley Advice Hub, and I think it is a pioneer, it's something that we should be really proud of, and I think that it's the first for the county. We've actually been able to get some AP funding to do something small on a really smaller scale, but over in concert, because we really love the model that's happening in Stanley. So I think hopefully we could do something, obviously on a small scale, but something, and I think that's something that Stanley Town Council should be really proud of. And I wanted to say, I'll catch you, John and Christine, but we are looking to do, when I spoke to the food bank volunteers, we're looking to do some universal credit training. It was a 2-hour briefing session. So I would love to offer that out to you, food bank volunteers, to come along, because I know that Francis and Christina are keen to get that. So
We'll try and fit it in.
What, sorry?
We'll try and fit it in.
Yeah, I know he's super busy, but it's just something I think if we can get one common venue all together, it would be a useful thing. So I know that a lot of people are coming in with universal credit issues. So, and that's me. Has anybody got any questions now?
Any questions, anybody?
I've got one, so if no one else has, just to
Go on, Alan. That's all
Just to
right.
clarify,
Yeah.
on your first slide where you talk about the number of clients and
Mhm.
the debt managed stroke
Yeah.
of financial gains,
Mhm.
so could you just explain to me and members in a bit more detail
Mhm.
what those two numbers, the debt managed written off and total financial gains, actually how they're calculated?
Okay. So in terms of your debt managed and your debt written off, those clients who are coming in who've got debt problems. So they, in terms of debt managed, that's a portion where, so for example, if someone came in and they've got credit cards, loans, council tax debts, that's the amount of debt that's managed. I should have broken them down, to be fair. In terms of debts written off, that would be any debts that they've supported with that would maybe have gone bankrupt or gone for debt relief, or just they would be written off, or they've actually wrote to the creditor and asked them to be written off. So that's what that would mean. I can certainly moving forward put them into separate brackets because I think that might be quite useful. In terms of the total financial gains, that is purely benefit entitlement. That's benefit entitlement, yeah. So that's from accessing the Citizens Advice Service and accessing the Welfare Rights Service. So that's money where they didn't have money and they've actually given,
And they've got money.
They've got money. So that's actually money that's been received as a result.
So that's
of
not, because I was
the
confused
service.
thinking that maybe that was a proportion of debt that had been written off.
No.
Out of that
So-
£2 million.
Yeah, no, that's debt managed and written off, but I think moving forward, I think it'd be useful to have it in a broken down of debt managed and then debt written off.
But putting it simplistically, so for the town council's £57,000 of investment, we've got 75,000 back in volunteer hours for
Yeah.
free,
Yeah.
at a basic £10 an hour rate. We've got £621,000 of extra money for residents,
Yes.
and we've got another £2 million worth of which a proportion of which will have been written off,
Yes. Yeah.
which you can provide us more detail on.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah.
Right, so that's
Yeah.
quite a
I think in terms of the
demonstration of the value for money.
Absolutely, and that's what I wanted to do today, is to kind of demonstrate that actually there's quite a lot of monetary value, I guess, to the residents of Stanley for the support that's being given. So, but yeah, absolutely, I can provide you a full breakdown. I'll send you electronically the report for March and April, and that should break it down.
Right, thank you.
No?
Thanks, man. Yeah. Alan's already sort of hinted on what I'm going to ask him to do. So I'll just do a few things first. From just looking through the key statistic bits at the back, it seems like the top issues are still council tax. We've got millions of people with council tax. That doesn't seem to be decreasing. Just wondering if there's something we need to do to slow the system down, speed the system up, whatever, I don't know. And it seems like about 60% of the people that you have who come in are either disabled or have long-term health conditions. So that sort of suggests that they're disproportionately disadvantaged and affected by these problems. So I've written down all the statistics that he's just mentioned. But what I want to see is, I want to see if you can sort of work together to put something out there that says the type of things he's just read out there. We'll get, even if you just look at the financial gain for every pound that Stanley Town Council spend, we'll get £10 worth of financial gain for the community.
Yeah.
That's without trying to break down all the other things, which just seems like a great thing for Stanley, really. So just wondering if we can, how do we sort of get it out there? I don't know whether you've got the capacity for us to get it out there, though. That's the only thing. There'll be lots of people saw it and decided we're going to turn up where they have the capacity. So that's probably three little threads there for you.
I think, well, we've wanted to deliver a service, so we deliver a service, and I think that there's a lot more demand out there than we're actually, that's actually coming through the door. So I think, I do think it should be something that maybe we should publicise, or actually getting value for money. And we can sort of do a press release or something. Yeah. That would be.
Is that motion?
Yeah, that's a
motion. In terms of council tax, I know that because I know that Citizens Advice have, because I'm kind of involved in the liaison of it, we've got a protocol that they're kind of giving us a longer period of time to put account on hold to enable clients to kind of set up a payment plan. So previously it was a 28-day hold, and they've agreed to extend that to a 42-day hold. So that's something that we're working with the local authority, kind of enable clients a bit extra time to kind of set up a payment plan. I think primarily, and it's probably always going to be the way that it's always going to be, I think benefits and debt are always the big key issues. I think definitely we need to look at possibly some more preventative work. We try and do some more preventative work rather than always doing the crisis or dealing with the crisis. So, but I definitely think if we could maybe do a press release just that what we've achieved together, and kind of encourage people to use the service that's there.
I suppose the other question is, I know you've got, which one does finishes, these ones finish in February, so I've got March, April, May, etc. written down and we've got it.
I've got the March and April report.
I'm just wondering how fast do you get there? Because obviously we're nearly at the end of June now, and I think that if you've got something from, let's say January, February, do you know what I mean, the first 6 months of the year, rather than 2 months off last year and 4 months off this year. I think that's more sort of hard hitting, isn't it? Where because obviously lots of people will be in debt before Christmas and things and worried how they're going to pay. So that probably skews things a little bit, doesn't it?
What, the statistics?
The statistics, I'm just looking from what I've been flicking through here, the ones that you wrote off before Christmas and stuff were huge.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas
I think there's always kind of a bit of a dip in terms of people accessing advice. With debt, I think people always accessing debt advice, but particularly after Christmas. We see, maybe it's probably February time, we seem to see a bit of a, because people get their bills in and then they have their due, and then they kind of come in and get that advice. But, I mean, the things to produce the reports bi-monthly, isn't it? So,
I think what Councillor Davidson is hinting at is that there's a bit of a lag in real time because we're kind of like always a period behind the reporting.
yeah.
And obviously you've got the last 2 months report to hand, but we've not had it.
I'll be totally honest, I have difficulty sometimes with partners providing information.
Well, you know, that's fair.
So I have been very clear that I need that from the first of the month. So if you'd rather have it monthly, that would be fine for me, to be honest, because then
that's right. It's just when we had this one, then I ended in February, it's June now, so it's like a bit weird because it's a whole quarter behind me, isn't it?
Well, I've got to provide it bi-monthly, and I've just got statistics from one partner 2 weeks ago for the March, April, so it's difficult sometimes when you're asking, don't have that information, and I've got to ask partners for that information. So I have been very clear to one of the partners that I do need that at the beginning of every month. So.
But you have got very up-to-date information now,
I've got it,
so we can compile an
I can
up-to-date
leave it, I've got it here, if you want me to.
report.
Yeah. I can leave them, I've got the paper ones here, so I can leave them if you want to distribute them. Yeah?
Yeah.
Can I just leave them?
We could have something electronically, I'll send
I'll send you
I'll send
electronically,
them out
yeah.
electronically.
You mentioned council tax. You say that's the main bit, apart from Christmas, when it's credit. You obviously need
Yes, yeah.
And you also saying that that's information, the council's behaving in a different way in terms of how they handle the issue. I noticed the single most common benefit of getting involved is PIPs. That's consistently linked to house.
Yeah.
So is that information being fair on? Has anybody seen any sort of outcome regarding trying to sort out the issue regarding PIPs? And the same way in which it has with the council tax or not?
I think in terms of PIP, it's a lot of people who's inquiring so someone might present and they've got ill health problems, so what the organisation will do is either advise them on what the criteria is in order to get PIP. So what they'll do is they'll probably fill in an application, or it could be that people are getting help and support to appeal a decision on PIP. So the statistics recorded based on if a client presents and asks about that benefit, I think there's a high proportion of people who are disabled and have got ill health problems, and so as a result the PIP is a big thing to be discussed, and if it's awarded then that's obviously probably a high proportion of the benefit gain, to be honest.
But again, the gain in this is the financial gain, but also if the councils behave differently than those people with council tax, that's another positive.
Yes, absolutely.
the same thing happens with the girls and kids. It proves how.
Yeah, I mean, that's a central government thing.
That will not change.
You know, I think Durham County Council, the local authorities we can work with them, but in terms of where we pay, that's a national thing, so we wouldn't be able to influence change on that.
Generate good data which can be fed in the
Yeah.
we can do so that we can use that data to know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so that's another point.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
Well, not a question, if I can be a comment.
Yes?
We, I mean, when we're putting the bid together and you were looking for what you could provide us, I think you've more than succeeded in the figures that we were looking at. And I think you should be thanked for the work that you're doing. We're pleased to support you, and it's important that the people of Stanley get to recognise this, perhaps use our Facebook page and stuff like that, look at various ways to get it out there, so that as many people as possible do get the opportunity to come here before they, in some cases, before they get it. So thanks very much for your report, thanks for the work you do.
Maybe if I could make a suggestion based on what Councillor Marshall and what Councillor Davidson was saying, I think perhaps if I make contact with Career Communications and work with Sam to work on a press release about the success of the service and, you know, and the impact that it has been making locally, members be agreeable to that.
Would everybody be in agreement with that?
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you very much, Sam. Very good work. If you want to, you can go up or you can stay if you want to.
You're welcome to stay.
More than welcome to stay.
You need it more than that.
Oh, thank you very much for your time. See you
Thank
later.
you very much. Thank you. Right, we'll move on to item 8, which is the policy working group.
Madam Mayor, would you remember the policy work, would you like to say this, or are they happy for me to? Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. The policy working group has been working its way through the policies which the council has, the policy which need to be updated. There are 3 policies which I'll put before council for approval this evening. They've already been looked at by the working group and by the finance committee. The first is the vehicle use policy and an associated daily checklist, which you will have circulated in advance of the meeting. The second is the Town Mayor's Awards, which is just updating because it related to chairman and job titles have changed, so it's just been updated, not really changed substantially. And the third one is the Equality and Diversity policy, which has been overhauled in line with the Durham County Council approach. So members are asked to consider the policies that have been provided and recommended for approval by the policy working group, and if they are happy with them, approve the policies.
Mark?
I just thought something that might be missing. Was there not another line about buying something to do with vehicles, something to do with tyres, or is that some sort of daily checking they didn't have? So is that already been actioned, or does that need?
Oh, that doesn't need, yeah, sorry, yeah. What that was one of the daily checks were checking tyre pressures, and one of the questions that was asked by the group was, well, how do you do that then? And it's like, well, we need to buy all those check gauges, so that we don't need we just need to go and buy the check gauges. Yes, that has been actioned.
It has been purchased.
Has been purchased, yeah. So we have a check gauge to check the tyre pressures.
Right, so does everybody approve?
Yeah.
Approve and second that?
I'll move it.
Go on. Who was that? Jeanette?
Agreed?
Agreed. Item 9 is the events working group, attachment A.
Madam Mayor, the minutes of the work group are really attached for information only, and if members want to request any further updates. There has been some slight changes over the armed forces. They have had a notification that we were going to get like a World War I plane, but we can't get that, but we're going to get a training jet cockpit that you can get into instead, which would cost more money. So it's kind of, it's fine. you know, if you read the minutes, you'll see that things are in progress, but there's nothing dramatic to update since the last update.
Please vote the report, please, Madam Mayor.
Right,
Everyone happy to know the report?
everybody happy? Yes. Move on to the Civic Hall Operations Working Group, attachment I.
Well, this one, there are some decisions for council to make, so I don't know whether Councillor Nair wishes to speak to this, or do we should run through it?
Carry on, if there's anything I need to add on to that.
Well, as members have hopefully read the minutes of the group, and they would have seen that the recommendations come from the Finance and General Purposes Committee, because this set of papers has obviously been to the committee before it's come to full council, and the committee has supported the recommendations of the working group. Essentially, there's three things. The first one is that, as members will be aware, there's a significant amount of work required to build a new website for the Civic Hall, because the old one is just a bookings website at the moment, and it's not really enabling the council to sell the building as a venue for other types of bookings or events at all, because it's just simply not there. We've been working closely with Creo Communications in putting together artwork for paper copies of leaflets and brochures to sell weddings, etc. And we understand that we're going to need approximately £10,000 to build all of the collateral we need, which means all of the design work, all the printing work, all the photography, then building the website out will need to support that. It's going to cost approximately that amount. That's just a ballpark figure. The concern that the working group had was that the council overall has budgeted about £20,000 for community engagement, which includes marketing and advertising and this type of work. But clearly, that budget was set without this piece of work being considered. So the working group asked for clarity about whether or not the approximately £10,000 which they required to do this piece of work would come out of that budget, or whether there would be a separate budget. And the recommendation of the working group and the committee was that we should look to find this £10,000 somewhere else. It doesn't say where at the moment, but it says that we should look to make savings in the revenue budget during the course of the year, which we're right at the beginning of, to cover this cost, so that we don't need to use our community engagement budget to meet this cost. That's recommendation number one, and I'm sure Councillor Nair might have something to add to that, or Councillor Marshall. The second recommendation, which is linked, if we're going to produce brochures and a website to try and sell this building, to sell hires in this building, uses in this building, clearly, if we put together a very, very well designed, strong brand brochure for weddings, for example, we have to put photographs in it. This room at the moment needs refurbishment. The carpet is coming to pieces, the curtains are totally unsuitable, the decor needs overhauling. The working group considered this matter and thought that actually, whatever the long-term plans for the building are, because obviously we're meeting with an architect tomorrow to discuss various ways to look at the use of this building overall. But this room will remain, the use of this room will remain what it is. It will remain a function room, it will remain a potential wedding room, it will remain used for council meetings, etc., etc. And likewise, the main hall is going to remain a main hall. The use of that functional space will not change, because we're going to use it as a theatre, a cinema, a venue for gala evenings and award ceremonies and weddings. So actually, what the committee is putting forward is that we should consider some refurbishment work to get rid of the pink paint in there, as a one, to look at the blackout curtains, which we need for cinema, because during the day there's light leaking in there, to look at improving the PA system, so we've got surround sound for cinema, now that we're running regular screenings, and to look at replacing the curtains, carpet and decor in this room. And that's what's been put forward by the Finance Committee for full council to consider. And I'll hand over to the working group, and we'll take it from there.
Does anyone want to come in, Alan?
I don't have too much to add to what Alan has actually said over here. We need to remember that items 2 and 3 are operational and they're essential. And looking at all the three things, I must thank the staff for having done the work that they have done in coming up with all these proposals, etc. But 2 and 3 are essential items that we need to work on as quickly as possible because they are operational and they will be substantial to the success of the Civic Hall. The £10,000, once again, we're going to have a look at. Alan's going to give us some more details about it. And as Alan says, we'll find most of the funding from savings, etc., that we'll be doing with other areas and issues that we have within the council. So looking at it, our group is pretty comfortable with what the staff is doing to try and make this a higher profile to what we have in Stanley, because there are a lot of people who don't even realize what the Civic Hall does. And there is also the point that we are looking at ways of hiring out the other rooms much more frequently, so that that also pays towards some of the expenses that we are talking of over here. So generally the group itself is pretty comfortable with what's happening, and I think the finance group is also reasonably comfortable with what's happening.
Well, I'd like to be quite sure that the figures we're talking about, and which is important, that we know where that money's coming from, because there's no way we're taking out balances. Balances are low enough now. There might be something else that comes that we need that for. So yes, breakdown of the costs obviously is going to come back to the group to have a look at. I agree with the sentiments. We don't want to knock staff back. Staff will work very hard to make a success of this place. But on the other hand, we've got to be quite sure that the money we're spending is being spent wisely. So it'll come back to the finance committee and full council before any money's spent.
We have the recommendations of the finance committee. What Councillor Marshall was saying was something a bit different to what the recommendations of the finance committee were. I'm not sure, because the finance committee was recommending that we authorise the expenditure, and Councillor Marshall said that it needs to come back again. So
I might be wrong, but the timescale would perhaps be that you need, if you're talking about this room and selling it for pre-order to be able to put on the website, it would probably take all of this year and into the beginning of next year. You know, so you're not necessarily looking at immediate, because you need to sell any wedding product. You have to have the right product at the right time for the right people. You know, it's all about getting it just spot on and fairly neutral, because everybody's wedding is unique to them, so your balance has to be fairly neutral. So you might find that you don't need to find that money in this financial year, you know, depending on, you know, what carpet you pick, what decor you decide to do, all those kinds of things. So, you know, it might be worth looking at the time scale for that, and you could maybe budget it in for next year's budget.
Yeah.
You know.
The point I was making, Mayor, I wasn't at the finance meeting, and I missed the meeting, and it was held to discuss this. Now, I'm just concerned that how far we're going. We're not saying, yes, go up and spend £10,000. I mean, this place doesn't, what is it? Doesn't look very practical for a wedding, does it? It doesn't look very amenable. But you can still go ahead with your publicity, because if you're going to develop that, the camera takes a picture and then you make that picture look like you want. If you want this to be a blue carpet instead of a round one, you just click on it and does it. So that side of it can be developed along with what we're doing. I just want to be quite sure, as far as I'm concerned, that I wasn't saying, yes, spend £10,000. We need the detail of that.
I take Councillor Marshall's points of view and Councillor Nicholson's. It was made perfectly clear that the group and the staff agreed that it will be the costing will be brought to the finance committee, and it will be consensual decision from the input of the staff and the decision-making process of the councillors themselves. So it's not as if we're going to spend the money whatever happens. It is that we are going to see and make a decision, a consensual joint decision between the staff who know the needs that we have over here and the councillors who understand the kind of money that we have to spend over here. So it is going to be a consensual decision based on the expertise of both sets of people.
Thanks, Mayor. I don't think we can do anything around the promotion of this place until we actually get some decorating done and in a neutral way. Yes, you can click on a photograph and make it a different colour, but you know, this place actually needs some refurbishment done to it, otherwise we are just wasting our time. And I think that was the discussion that we had at the finance group, that we really needed to make some investment into the building. So we need some quotes, we need to know how much that's going to be. And I think it was agreed that we would then look at the website throughout, you know, we never put a time scale on that, but until we do the decorating, we cannot really do anything with regards to publicity in this place.
Just come in to say, for me, there's a 1, 2 and a 3 on the list. And I think the 1, 2 and 3 are all separate for me. Because I think the way it came back was that approximately £10,000 will be required to overhaul the St Paul website and do the publicity and all that. So for me, that bit's sitting there. We've agreed that we won't be using our approximately £20,000 for our publicity marketing budget, or whatever you call it, for that. So when that expenditure comes, however it comes, we've decided that's going to be outside of the remit of the publicity and marketing. But nobody said, well, as far as I know, nobody said we're going to spend any of that money. It's just sort of sitting there, if you know what I mean. Because obviously we wouldn't be spending any money on the website or any publicity without us knowing what it was. Then the second thing was about the painting and stuff. So the painting and the decor and things. Firstly, we had so people who really loved the cinema, apart from us, couldn't see very well because it was too light. So we were getting some quotations for making it darker, and also to get this room tidied up, because I think that all that will happen is that if you take some photos and sort of change them, or like David said, you can do, but as soon as somebody comes to see the venue, they'll look down by the carpet and he's red. It's a criminal thing, and they'll get out the door and not come back. So you'll get lots of people making inquiries that'll then waste your time, because when they come to see the facilities, they'll not want it. So as a matter of urgency, we need to get the quotations in for that, find out what it is. Because I've got no idea. We could say we'll set a budget of, I don't know, £1 million or something to do it, but I wouldn't have a clue how much it would cost somebody to do it, so we can't really do that when we're getting the quotes in. The same thing for the surround sound as well, because the surround sound sounds great, but I don't know how much it costs. So we need to make sure that these things are going to be. We do have the money for number 2, don't we? I'll just check that.
We have some money left in the what's remaining from the loan, yes.
Yeah. So as soon as we get the sort of ballpark thing, we can action it. There will not be loads of money, but
And I think, yes,
nobody's got a clue what it is. So
maybe clarify and simplify. The £10,000 in item 1 is an estimate to do everything that needs to be done with publicity and marketing.
yeah,
Clearly, we haven't spent any of that yet, and we won't, because although we're looking at designs for leaflets, we're not going to commission until we're in a position to get the photographs done and get it out there. And likewise, until we've got the publicity, the wedding brochure done, which we can't really do because we can't take a photograph of that hall and say, come and have a wedding in this room, because it looks awful. So, you know, it's all like chicken and egg. Until we paint that hall a different colour, we can't take the photographs of it a different colour, so we can't do our wedding brochure. And it's all like, and it's trying to put all these things in place. So like Mark says, the cinema's one thing, because you can put the blackout curtains and the PA speakers in, and your cinema's fixed, whether the room's pink or cream. You can change the carpet in here and put some new curtains up and get rid of that wallpaper and make it look a bit tidier in here without doing those things. And the £10,000 won't get spent until it's all done. So as Councillor Nicholson was saying, it might not all be in this financial year, But I think what we were trying to get at was, look, there's a community engagement budget of 20k. This is additional work. This is set-up work. We want to hold that somewhere else. And we'll obviously try and offset it with savings on in-year expenditure. And that we should be doing that. We saved last year quite a lot of money on in-year expenditure, enough to fund unbudgeted expenditure and extra events, and still come up with an underspend on the overall annual budget. So it should be possible to achieve that. It's just the principle of setting up a new budget code and holding that expenditure there when it's not budgeted, with that understanding that we're going to find savings elsewhere, for one. With two, clearly, you know, James Harper as operations manager is going to go away and get prices and feed those into the working group. And so this is what it's going to cost before we commit any expenditure. But it's just getting the agreement in principle from the council that this is the way to go.
Okay.
Can I just share, I'm not against that, and that's exactly what I was saying. I need to know the costs. I think we're all coming from the same
I
place.
was trying to
We need to make the look at.
explain what you
Correct me if I'm wrong, but there was a budget for refurbishment of this building, and we had £60,000 left in that budget. Does that still remain?
Well, we spent the money on the cinema equipment, but obviously my understanding is the balance remains. Yes.
Yeah.
I won't
Sorry,
mislead you.
sorry,
No, I was just trying to say what you said.
you're saying that we spent the money for refurbishment on buying a projector for the cinema. That should come out of a different budget altogether. The refurbishment money is for doing work at this hall and this building, not to buy projector. If we agree to buy a projector, that's got to come out of another budget.
When did we buy the projector?
February.
Well, we'll look at that.
Well, there was a definite decision of the council to buy it using the money that was raised from the public works there.
Yeah. So like David says, I think we're all on the same page. Please get the quotations for 2 and 3 as fast as possible. Number one's just sort of sitting there waiting for what we've done 2 and 3.
Well, what I'll do with one is I'll create a new code on the budget, and then the expenditure will be charged to that, so we'll know where it is.
So everybody in agreement?
So 3 and 2, or 2 and 3, they've got to be priorities, and they're- unless that says, you're going to put matinee performances on in the summer, when it's later than ever, if you get the sun coming in. So 2 and 3 have got to be prioritised, got to get a quote, I've got to agree the quote and action them ASAP.
Because it's going to be the summer break before long,
Yeah.
so we need the so we need to come to the finance meeting the next time we've got to agree for us to then agree them with
Yeah.
how we discuss it.
Is everybody in agreement so we can move on?
Yes.
Can I have a mover and a seconder just for the minutes?
I will.
I want to move to a cabinet.
Yes. Right, we move on to item 11 now. We've done item 11. Item 12, the apprentices.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor. This is the Deputy Town Clerk's report. Unfortunately, he's not here, so I'm going to try and run it. The Finance Committee gave direction to us as officers to explore. We have one apprentice on our establishment, staff establishment, which is currently against the administration team. The recommendation of the Finance Committee was that we looked into the provision of 2 apprentices, one on the environmental services and public caretakers team, and one in hospitality in the Civic Hall. So the Deputy Town Clerk has gone away and he has explored various options, and a report is attached for members. Hopefully you've read that. Basically, the bottom line is that the funding is available, the courses are available. The decision really is whether or not, clearly from the staff and establishment that we only have 1 apprentice post funded on the establishment. So to create an additional apprentice post would require us to find additional funding to support that. So the decision for members is, are they happy with 1 or 2 apprentices? If so, whether they want them, etc. So that we can.
Councillor Timmy wants to come in.
I've read the report. At this present time, I believe personally that we should approve the environmental apprentice and take the option of the day release to Hoffel College, because it is a specialist college for environmental, and whoever the person that we appoint will get all the necessary qualifications through going to Hoffel, where other colleges are more general and it will need a specialist, and hopefully the person we appoint as apprentice goes through the whole training and potentially we can use that person in our structure. I would also defer the hospitality apprentice till we'll have a clear direction for what the civic hall is going to be doing. But in the meantime for that, we'll continue to look for funding to fund that apprentice.
That's a motion.
Yep.
Second.
Anyone else got anything to add? Anybody agree?
Agreed.
Agreed.
You read?
Yes. Councillor Bowler. Sorry.
I'm not that I'm not agreed, but I'm not like what the next steps is and how fast we can get someone.
Because I don't know whether they have to wait September to start a TOEFL or whatever. I wouldn't really.
To be honest with you, it's the Deputy Town Clerk that's had all the conversations with the training establishments on this one. I'm pretty confident from what he said that he can get this done fairly properly. He seemed to think that Hoffel College, who Councillor Timby is proposing that we go with, were very keen and very on board. So I can't give you a definitive answer now, I don't want to mislead you. What I would say is that I will, when I see the Deputy Town Clerk tomorrow morning, I will tell him what the decision of Council has been, and I will ask him to send an email to you all to update you with what he thinks the timescale is likely to be.
Him to contact and advertise that will require it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Right, we'll move on to item 14, Armed Forces Covenant. Okay. Oh, sorry, schedule a meeting. It's because I've written next to that.
It's not my number, just make sure that's
It's just me. Because I've written it next. Sorry. Item 13, the schedule of meetings. Attachment L.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This comes from a discussion at the last finance meeting where we discussed that now that we've set up a programme having these regular working group meetings in the first week of the month, and the fact that the bank recs in the first week of the month, it's quite difficult to get all the papers from those meetings and the bank rec done in time for the finance committee. So I proposed that we move the meetings along, and the committee was happy to support that, to give that a go. So essentially, the schedule of meetings makes no alterations, proposing no alterations to full council meetings at all. No alterations to the frequency of finance committee. It's proposing the finance committee is pushed a week back, except for in December, where it's the only meeting, and pushing a week back, definitely closer to Christmas, and in March, where we have the town meeting. So we've already got 3 meetings that month, so therefore it's not really feasible to do so.
Councillor Orford?
Once again, I wasn't at the finance meeting, but I would like an assurance that if we won't accept this, it means that on a Tuesday, you'll have your finance committee, and on Wednesday, you're going to send out the notice of the full council meeting the following day. Can you assure me that you're going to achieve the timescales, because that's what outstanding orders say we should be doing, so that members get sufficient notice in reports. So you talk about the next day, it's your recommendation, so I'm quite willing to go along with that. But by come, if we don't achieve it, I can't see members being too happy if they don't get the reports on time.
Well, so I would suggest it's easier to turn around one set of minutes for the finance committee and a set of recommendations than it is to turn around 3 or 4 working groups and get the bank rec done, because you're depending on different people doing different things there. So Yes, I understand that the timeline is going to be challenging, but obviously we're going to be well aware as a team that we need to get the minutes done the day after the Finance Committee get the recommendations agenda to those full council. So, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, okay with that? Everyone else okay?
Yeah.
So- Now we'll move on to item 14. The Armed Forces Covenant Attachment M.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Council's already agreed in principle that we want to sign up to the Armed Forces Covenant, and after the discussion we've had at Council previously, the document you have is the proposed wording of the covenant itself. Obviously, the one that we get to sign will probably look a little bit fancier, a bit of nicer paper stuff, but this is what the document will say. In respect of what the covenant means, we're asked to appoint an officer representative and a member representative. Now, we would propose that the officer representative would be the Deputy Town Clerk. Obviously, we would ask Council to nominate a member representative. One further update, and this is an update which has come through today actually. We had requested, we've been in discussion with the, just find the email, been in discussion with the regional, hang on, I want to get his job title right, with David Eccles, who's the Assistant Regional Employee Engagement Director of the North of England Reserves Force. We had requested on Council's instruction that a representative was sent to our Armed Forces Day event so that we can sign it on that day. We had an email today from David Eccles saying that they're unable to ask any military attendance for the 7th of July, and they're requesting that we send a representative to an event in Washington on the 24th of July to sign the covenant there. There will still be a photo opportunity to be had, but they're saying they can't send anyone to our Armed Forces Day to sign this piece of paper. So that is essentially the covenant has been provided, the draft of the covenant has been provided for approval by members. If members are happy to adopt the covenant, we're asked to appoint a member champion, and we're asked to attend a signing event on the 24th of July in Washington at the Mercure George Washington Hotel, whatever that is.
Yeah, a little bit confused with what you just said there regarding that email, because there was two options on this paper, which was here to sign on the 7th of July, which obviously this council wanted us because it's our event. And then the second one was an event at New College. Well, what's happened to the event at New College?
I don't know. It's the answer. I mean, as I said, this is Deputy Town Clerk's email that he's forwarded on to me, and it is dated today, and it just says that he's provided the artwork for the covenant, and he can't provide anyone on the 7th. I don't know if the New College event is still going ahead or not. It may be possible that it is. I don't know. That can be clarified. But the bottom line is that they can't send anyone to Armed Forces Day to sign it. We need to go to an event that they're organising to sign it.
I think it should be noted that we're sort of disappointed that they can't attend our Armed Forces Day to sign it. For the nominations for the champion, I would nominate Councillor David Marshall because he's, as far as I'm aware, he's the only councillor with Armed Forces service currently. So that's my proposal, that we nominate David Marshall.
Well,
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I think, despite the fact that they can't send anybody, I still think we still need to be signing our paper on Armed Forces Day, whether it's countersigned by them or not. I don't know. It's sort of a partnership, but it's not sort of a partnership, because we're agreeing to do things, so we should still be signing them on our event. I think whether they can attend and get some way to countersign or not. So I would propose that we still as Les says, we're still signing on the day, and we have David Marshall as the member champion. If yourself or, I don't know, who they're inviting to the thing, obviously Alan doesn't either because he's just got the, if yourself or David or both of you want to go to this event at George Washington Hotel on the 24th and re-sign again, then that would be great, but I think we just need to do ours on the day and then they can either counter-sign it later or how it works, I don't really know, but we just,
There's no point in doing it in Washington when we're doing it in Stanley.
There's a motion
Yes.
motion.
Does everybody, Mark's put something forward
I-
there, do we all
let's put
agree?
it forward and
Yeah.
just,
Yeah,
I'll send it.
it's the only way it's going to get done, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's brief, but
Sorry?
Well, thanks for the nomination. Obviously, I'm a veteran. I served in the Aden in the conflict there, and spent some good years in the army. But it is strange when you come out of the army, you know, you're so used with everything being done for you, and suddenly you've got to control your finances. You're looking for housing, you're looking, and it's a strange experience. I came out and I had somewhere to go. But even so, you're not the same confident person. It takes a while to settle in, and anything we can do to help that period for veterans, I think we should do. I'm disappointed that we can't get anybody to come along to our day, but I agree with Mark, we should sign it anywhere, and in the meantime, I'll try and through my links to get an officer of the military to come along. I don't mind going to Washington. I take it they must have a few local authorities going along there. There's nothing, never said anything about what the programme is. I'm sure Carol would be delighted to go, and I would want to go with your permission as the Armed Forces champion. So thanks very much for the nomination, and we'll see where we'll go from there.
we're happy to carry that, yes?
We're happy for that? Yeah,
Excellent.
thank you.
I think what we'll do is now that we know that Councillor Marshall is going to be the champion, I think we'll speak to this chap at the Ministry of Defence and we'll liaise with Councillor Marshall and yourself about what we do in terms of the event.
No problem. We move on to item 15, council actions update.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is the new template which Council agreed, it seems like a long time ago, the last ordinary Council meeting in April, and we have populated it a little bit more with a few extra things. So I'll just go through it from page 1. Obviously we had an action on there to establish the Stanley Fund, that's now been established. Panel has been selected. We know that I think there's 5 applications in for a total of £56,000-ish, and the panel's meeting in July, is that right? I'm looking at panel members. Yes. So that's been done. The strategic grant fund has obviously been implemented. We've had the first round. The panel has met. The awards have been letters gone out, and the senior administrative officer is now organising all of the cheque handovers with the town mayor as we speak. I'm sure the Carol's diary will be extremely full over the next few weeks getting all of those done. The road safety visor, we're kind of a little bit stalled at, but that's because we're still in discussions with the police about coming up with a solution to that that's acceptable to everybody. Again, the police cars, we were still waiting for the delivery of the second police car. Councillor Timby and Councillor Davidson and myself met with the local police inspector a week and a half ago to ask what's going on. We are trying to push that along, but we're still waiting on the police. Stanley in Bloom, we are preparing, sort of in the final phase of preparations for that now, and James and his team have been working extremely hard, scurrying around getting everything ready for that, but we are on track with that. The Civic Corps Media Consultant leaflet information, well, we've discussed that. That was on this agenda, and it's shown as green there because we are progressing it as well as we can with the discussions that we're having with the working group. There's another meeting of the Civic Corps working group tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Pantomime is shown as orange because we haven't, that needs to come back to the other civic hall working group to discuss at a future meeting. The events working group, that's progressing well. We're obviously in the run-up now to our first event in a couple of weeks' time, which will be Armed Forces Day, and then obviously the summer holidays will be upon us, our Play in the Park programme will come along, and then we've got Minor Sunday, which is being planned. All these events are being planned for, and then Christmas, obviously, we're planning for that now. That's the one that's caused the problems, if any of them do, I think. Staff recruitment, we've shortlisted, invited to interviews for the finance officer. We had 27 applicants, shortlisted 8 interviews are scheduled for the 8th and the 10th of July. Policy working group, that work is ongoing on that. The Finance Committee developing the comms strategy, we've pulled together, which I'll circulate to members in due course, a comms plan, which is different to a strategy, which basically tells you when things are happening and who's responsible for what bits to make sure that we do the right publicity at the right time, which will certainly be circulated to members before the end of the week. And in terms of a strategy, that will be driven, that's kind of, we need to pull that together out of all the things that we're doing with the civic hall and that working group and what we're doing with the other marketing stuff. But we're getting there with that. Just as an aside, while we're talking about communicating with residents, we are obviously have put together a submission for the Star Councils Award, which was the for the Council of the Year, and the deadline for the submission of that is the 28th. We've worked with Career Communications to put together 500 words. It's very, very difficult to crystallise what we've done in the last year and a half into 500 words because we've done a lot. Done that, that's ready to go. So that will be circulated to members so you can have sight of what we're sending around for that. The Matthew Curley Heritage Plaque has obviously been done since the last ordinary meeting. And the Southmore Miners Banner is ongoing, and the War Memorials project is ongoing. That will report later on in the year. The last page is the Louisa Morrison Memorial Interpretation Board at Play Park. We're looking to do something a little bit more special with an interpretation board, just to play on stand. Obviously, for those members of council that have seen the Matthew Curley Heritage Plaque, we did quite a nice setting for that, which is more than just a plaque. It was quite nice. So what we're looking to do in Anfield Plain Park is actually do something which is a much nicer setting than just an interpretation board, to make something a bit more significant for that, which doesn't just repeat a list of names, because we've got that outside. So we're working on a proposal for that, and we'll bring that forward once we've got that worked up. So that's in hand. So that's it. Just so really, there's a question. Any questions from members?
Any questions on that?
I just wanted to ask, going back to the strategic funding element that's on here, because one of the things we asked for was to try and look at some sort of support and training, and I just wondered whether that could go in here as an action for staff to undertake. Thanks.
Anyone else?
Can I just say on the Star Award, obviously last year we were due to put this in and didn't get it by the deadline date. So I don't want any mistakes this year, so I don't want to wait for Friday and have that put in. And there's an opportunity next time that 500 words and another way. I'm sure the leader and Mark will be talking about that. So it's important that we keep on top of that.
Well, when you check videos, Councillor Marshall, we've got the links that we've got a video, because we've got quite a lot of video. We've got the Stanley Community Fund launch, we've got Packed House, Just Women's Centre, Advice to Cambridge Army Service, the launch of the Wardens, the Kit Memorial for the Louisa dedication, the Beacon of Light Centenary ceremony that we did in the Front Street, Armed Forces Day 2018, Play in the Park 2018, and the launch of community radio. So that's 10 videos that I'm going to link to the submission, which hopefully will give a bigger flavour than the 500 words of the work that we've done in the last year.
Thanks a excellent.
Okay, that's it in.
Yeah, because I think personally, a visual, if somebody can see it better in a word, a visual definitely has that more of an effect on people.
Nobody else got any questions? Thank you very much. The last item on the agenda is the date, time and venue of the next meeting, which will be Tuesday, the 23rd of July, 6:30 here in the city.